from the heart of Dubai, where tomorrow is being built today, to the world. Welcome to the CTO Show with Mehmet. Here, we redefine technology and reimagine possibilities. With Mehmet, delve into the riveting realms of AI, cybersecurity, and digital technology. Experience the thrilling highs and lows of startups. Immerse yourself in the spirit of entrepreneurship and witness the future of business innovation being written in real time. Now, without further ado, let's tune in and explore the future.
Hello and welcome back to an episode of the CTO Show with Mehmet. Today I'm very pleased. Joining me, Rob Kalwarowsky. Rob, the way I love to do it is I keep it to my guests to introduce themselves and tell us more about, your background, your journey, what you're currently up to. Just as a kind of teaser for the audience, we're gonna talk about, leadership. We're gonna talk about, CEOs in special case, and how Rob is helping them getting better results. So, Rob, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so thanks for having me, Mehmet. I'm Rob Kalwarowsky. I'm an executive coach. I'm an author of my book, which is out right now, Capitalizing on Chaos, and a TEDx speaker. As Mehmet mentioned, I coach also CTOs and entrepreneurs on how they can scale their businesses and get better results. And so for me, that all starts with getting in tune with our own psychology and then building that into the process of scaling. And so we'll talk more about this throughout the show, but especially now where chaos is everywhere in our political system, in our economy, in technology, things are changing every day. It's really important for us as business owners and entrepreneurs and CTOs to be able to navigate this time, not just trying to survive, but actually capitalizing on this moment, because that's when you're going to take ground from your competition. So we'll talk a bit more about that in the show.
Absolutely, absolutely, Rob. Now, something I ask always my guests, and I'm sure like you have spotted a lot of, I would say, challenges, obstacles, maybe some common mistakes also that CEOs they do, that you decided like, okay, there's a gap, I need to step in and I need to start this. Like, what was the moment where you found like you need really to start this, Rob? Like how this all started?
Yes. So I'm an MIT engineer. I'm an engineer just like you, Mehmet. And I worked 10 years in industry as an engineer. And throughout that path, I encountered a lot of toxic leaders. And actually, in my first job, I had one that was so bad that it caused me depression. And ultimately, in 2013, I tried to take my own life. And what I learned on that path was that I was raised to be a robot. And I think a lot of the folks who are engineers who are listening to this, you'll understand this, right? Is our parents tell us do well in school. So we do well in school. Our parents, we learn to just work harder. We learn to just push through it and solve problems. We learn to do whatever it takes to win. And that was me. And the way it worked out was like, I literally tried to take my own life on a Sunday, and Monday morning I went to work. And I didn't know how to choose. I didn't know how to step out and make a different decision at that moment. And it took me years. And eventually in therapy, I came in and I was like, I need a win so bad. I need it like oxygen. And as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, it was like I needed someone to buy one of my products. And then the next thing I said to my therapist was, if I was Jeff Bezos right now, I wouldn't feel any better. And that was the moment where I realized that my own psychology was killing me and that I refused to become a robot any longer. And that's when I chose to start being human. And that's actually a tip that I have for folks is I say I'm human. And I say it in these moments where I'm falling into these mindsets of, well, I just need another sale. I just need another win. I just need another achievement. Because for me, I'm human opens the door for compassion, for clarity, for confidence, and for navigating these moments of chaos where we feel like the world's imploding around us. And so I want to give that to folks as a tool is of course it's not going to solve all the issues, but it's just a way to like ease into the issue. And then that's when you can, call an advisor, call your friend, talk to your team, talk to your partner, talk to your kids, like get out of that moment. So then you can start to find how do we solve the problem?
That's an inspiring story, I would say, Rob, for the folks also out there. Um, and you mentioned a couple of things, about people who sometimes get forced into things. Maybe they don't feel comfortable doing it, but they feel, like yeah, like this is what people told us to do, like, and then they stay in this dilemma. I think the lucky ones. I'm hoping this is why I do the show to get people like yourself who also somehow lived it and passed through it to inspire others to get out of this, right? So it's I tell people it's not a destiny, like you can just change this and go out and do better, I would say. Now if you want to get closer to working specifically with the C suites, right? And you talk about cows. So first thing I want to understand, what do you mean by this cows, Rob? Like, what kind of cows? Is it like lack of organization? Is it like they have many things on their plate? What we mean, and then based on that, we can build the conversation.
Absolutely. So chaos is uncertainty. And we see it everywhere now, right? Like it can be chaos internally in our own minds. Like let's say, um, we're having problems with our husband or wife. Let's say, our kids are having trouble at school or they're sick. We start feeling it internally. But it's also in our businesses, right? So, like maybe our biggest customer is upset, or maybe because of the stock market, like now we thought we were going to raise this much money or we thought we were going to get this valuation and we're not getting that. And even like a lot of companies this year, especially in Q1, they refused to give guidance on where they thought their company was going to go because there was so much uncertainty built through the US government. And I think it's all of that together. And whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a C suite at a Fortune 500 company, or whether you're just an individual contributor who works at a company, chaos is all around us with whether it's within our own minds or whether it's around us.
Right. So we understood the problem, Rob. Now let's imagine I'm an entrepreneur, or maybe I'm a C level executive in a company, and I come with you with all these issues on my plate. So walk me through the stages, that you and me we're gonna work together, and phase by phase, how I gonna come out of this chaos, right? And go to the better visibility, you know, better resiliency also as well. So what's my journey looks like?
Absolutely. And so this is where we have to be very honest with ourselves. And I think this is hard for us as engineers because, we're raised to just find an answer. We're raised to not ask for help. It was something I struggled with for a long time was I just wanted to I would figure it out myself, right? And I think this is another reason why I like folks to start using I'm Human, because you're human. And then if you're human, you can also ask for support. And right now, what I'm seeing a lot from my entrepreneurs and from my clients is we just feel overwhelmed. Like there's so much work to do. There's so much, clients it's really incredibly hard to get clients right now. It's really incredibly hard to get revenue and, even raise money. And so there's so much pressure. And the first step is really, reaching out for help. And you're welcome to, Mehmet will put my website and my LinkedIn podcast notes, and I would love to
Sure.
to help you. Um, but once folks come to me, the first step for me is defining like what's the goal. And so is it you want to scale your company as an entrepreneur? Is it that you want to be a better leader if you're a CTO, or you want to do a digital transformation, or you want to drive a project through? This is very simple, right? And then the other step of this is where are you today, right? This is just the standard gap analysis that we've done as engineers on every problem. That allows us to tap into motivation because change, as everybody knows, it's not easy. But having the motivation is the way that you're going to start doing the work. And that motivation can also be things like, I want to spend more time with my family. I want to be able to put my phone down at the end of the day and not worry that my company's burning down. The next step is to work internally because often what uncertainty does for us is it puts us in a state of stress or fear. And we can't think in that state. There's a thing called the amygdala hijack, which is where our brain puts us into fight or flight. And we actually cannot, we lose the executive functioning of our brain. So we can't problem solve. We can't innovate. We don't have a bigger perspective. Like all those things happen. And really, it turns us into a bunch of destructive or bad bosses. Um, but we find we work with that inner psychology in order to release those fears and unburden that stress. And then the final step, or the final two steps, right, is now we start to build out the foundation of who you are as a person and a leader that's outside of just your role and your job or your company. And so we look at things like, when are you at your best? What are your special skill sets that you bring that other folks don't? What are your values? What do you want most? And then the final step is really, how do we show up in the world as this new leader? And so um, that's how I like to take my clients through that process. And like an example for you is last year, I worked with a company and the founder was running a $3 million business. They came to me in March 2024 and we worked together for 6 months. And his $3 million business had been stuck there for 3 years. And we worked through this process. And this year they're going to do $15 million in business.
Wow. That's, really, really cool. Now, from personality to personality, I would say, Rob, like, have you seen difference on how long that journey would take uh, each of your clients to start seeing results? Because I know also when you are overwhelmed with many things, so as humans, we tend to try to get shortcuts. Sometimes we want to see results faster. How do you manage, this urgency that, of course, this is why I came to you, right? Because I'm feeling, I can't handle it anymore. I need a coach to guide me. But at the same time, like, yeah, I want to see the results now, like tomorrow. So how do you handle, these different, I would say, personalities and just it's a kind of um, because you have to deal with a lot of characters also as well, so how does that look like?
So first off, I am that guy too.
Yeah.
right? And I think a lot of folks, I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, if you're a high level executive, like that's the reality of what you need to deal with now, right? You need results now, not yesterday, now, right? And the the biggest thing, and like I've had a bunch of folks get a significant breakthrough in session one, but also sometimes it takes longer. What really depends on is what are you coming in the door with? And what are the, like, how open are you to change? And how open are you to do the work? And so the work isn't just our one-on-one session, right? It's also like I give folks in general a roughly 4 to 5 minute exercise to do every day. And then sometimes there's some leadership activities or things that are outside that, like how do we scale a company? What does our future look like? How should we be hiring? Should we be slowing down? Like questions like that to take to their teams. And so the work really matters. Um, but yeah, we can typically see some pretty good results in 3 to 6 months.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Like this is, yeah, I'm that guy too, by the way. So now, I want to ask you a little bit about the book. So the book is coming, in the same week now. We're like publishing this episode. Tell me more about the book. Like, what was the idea behind it? What we can expect out of it, and you know, anything that's special that you want to share also about the book itself.
So the book breaks down the process. And so when I mention that chaos puts us in a state of stress and we become destructive leaders, this book actually breaks down the 6 different types of destructive leaders according to a research paper that was published in 2021. And if we start looking at those, we all contain all of these 6 destructive leaders within us. And there actually is a part there, like that is the results first person. I have that. I mentioned it, right? And for me, why I was struggling with depression was I was in an environment where I felt like I needed to achieve and to win. And I was saving my company tens of millions of dollars. But the environment was where my manager at the time was threatened by that. And so I couldn't actually win.
Mhm.
And that was really somewhere where I had to look inwards and I didn't know how to do that. Right. And so that's where I teach folks is how do we work with those parts and actually unlock our leadership self. And that's what allowed me to go from, a corporate engineer to now I'm doing it like I've done a TED talk that's 300,000 views. I've written a book. I moved from Northern Canada to Costa Rica. I've gotten married. Like all of these things are because of this internal work that once we do that, then our possibilities of how we want to scale and impact the world just just open up immensely.
One thing, Rob, which came to my mind honestly now. So in some management schools, right? So they tell you you need some time to be tough. You need to like you just need to let people who are working with you, like you are a serious guy, like like you can't um like I would say do something that people would think you are weak. And at the same time, when it comes to the empathy and showing that, yeah, I understand, my team, and how I should listen to them. I've seen people sometimes who are really, they are good people, right? So they have the empathy, they have everything, but for some odd reasons, maybe from people who are around them, I don't know, maybe it's a culture thing, Whereas they say, you know what, like if I show myself I'm very much a good, you know, boss, it's gonna fire back on me and people gonna like leverage me and they're gonna think that you know what I mean, right? So what is the balance here of being really, you know, good boss, but at the same time, like don't tolerate everything and you know, like handle crises when really you have to take actions. Although maybe some of the people will think that, oh, like you're tough, like you're not a good boss. So what is the limit here? What is the edge?
So empathy is not allowing mediocre performance. These things are a misnomer, right? And this is something that a lot of people misunderstand, especially with this trend towards empathetic leadership, or even sometimes people think psychological safety means that we don't really talk honestly to each other. But if I truly care about you, Mehmet, I want you to be in a position where you're happy, where you're performing really well, and you're on the path to becoming whatever it is you want to become. Whether, if we're working in a big tech company and your dream is to start your own business and, launch a unicorn, then really it's my role as a leader to give you the skills in order for you to be able to do that in 3 to 5 years or some time range, right? And so if you're not performing well, it's my job, if I care about you and I'm truly empathetic, it's my job to make sure to coach you to get you to improve, right? The other side of this is if you're not in the right role, if you're not able to do the job that I'm asking for, it's also empathetic and caring to actually either move the person internally to another job or to let them go. And this doesn't mean you just say, hey, you're fired, right? Like you can help somebody get another job. You can talk to your contacts. You can give them a reference. Like these things are all open for possibility. But if we just allow folks to be mediocre and we think that's empathetic, it's actually not. It's actually, you're showing that you don't care about them because you're not challenging them to grow, which is what everybody wants. Like ultimately, we all want to be good at our roles. We want to be recognized as being good. And so as leaders, we need to open up this path for folks to be at their best.
Now, one thing here, Rob, which is maybe somehow related to this, how much also you think being an authentic leader, an authentic person, plays a role here? Because, you know, sometimes people try to act different than they are. And here, actually, where I've seen it myself from my own experience. And the whole problem starts from that point where someone decided like he's not he's not the person I know, right? I know this for a fact because I knew him before. So how much authenticity and keeping who you are in an authentic way plays a role also in having like this better leadership, and which is, of course, will be reflected to be better results for the company as well.
Yes. And this is where we work through in psychology of those 6 destructive leadership parts. Once we get once we're able to allow them to step to the side, that's when we can start digging into who you truly are as a leader. This doesn't mean, and I'm not saying that it's like, let's say you're an entrepreneur and your biggest client just walked out the door and you're talking to your investors. I'm not saying you're going to tell them, hey, like, I don't know what I'm going to do because our biggest client left. We have no more good clients. I don't know who I'm going to call to sell a company. Like, I'm lost, right? It's all context, right? If you have that, you want to call me. You don't want to tell that to your investors, right?
Right.
However, it's also not lying, right? You're not going to stand up in front of your investors and go, don't worry, we have all these clients that are going to pay us, even though we don't, right? Or like lying to your team about results, right? So we want to show up in a way that's authentic. However, this doesn't mean that we share everything, right? And it also doesn't mean, like, some folks, they say, hey, well, authentically, I'm gonna be an asshole because that's who I am. It's not actually who you are. It's a part of you that when you're in a moment where you're feeling stress, that can come in and you will think you're that person. I've had those moments. You've had those moments. Almost anyone who's driven down the road and gotten cut off by a car, you've had those moments too, right? But it's really truly being you with the context of, you don't want to be super open and vulnerable because there are folks in the world who can take advantage of that, or it will negatively impact your deliverables.
Got you, Rob. Rob, where people can, get in touch with you and, get to know more and, of course, get their hands on the book as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So my website, robkalwarowsky.com, you can find out more there. The book will be, if you just go to the tab Capitalizing on Chaos, you can buy the book there. And then also on that website, there's going to be an assessment for you all to take where you can understand and learn what which ones of the 6 destructive boss types are within you, are most dominant. And that'll help you start to identify that path of self-awareness. And then, yeah, of course, on the website, you can book a session with me. You can hire me to speak. You can hire me to do executive coaching for yourself or your team. I'm all there.
Great. Thank you very much, Rob. I will make sure that also that I'm gonna put the links in the show note. And really, I appreciate the time today, Rob. You shared, your experience in an authentic way, and you shared, some of the things that you have learned yourself, and the way you help people in getting that. So I really appreciate you being here with me today. And for the folks, you'll find all the links, also the book which came out this week itself. So you can, go and grab a copy of it. And also, if you want to get in touch with Rob, as I said, all the links will be there. So Rob, really I appreciate your time with me here today. And this is for the folks. This is how usually I end my episodes. So if you just discovered this podcast by luck, thank you for passing by. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did so, give me a small favor, like subscribe and share it with your friends and colleagues. And if you are one of the people who keeps coming again and again, thank you very much for your support. Thank you for all what you're doing to the show. And thank you for everything you're doing by getting us on the top 200 charts across multiple countries in the Apple podcast. So thank you very much. And as I say always, tune in for a new episode very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hit that subscribe button, share the show with your tech-savvy friends and fellow entrepreneurs, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support means the world to us.